What's up, guys? So, again, my name is Ben. I'm a startup ministry and business here in the Seattle, Washington area. One of the things that I do on my channels is sort of share my plans, insights, and my channel and ministry is sort of vlog style. And let me quickly explain what that means. Is I also like to share kind of steps and journey highlights and updates on this channel for my personal life and then also for the business and ministry. And one of those things, ways that I do that is through sharing some of the plans or insights or ideas that I want to add to YE company and ministry and the things that we want to do in the future, God willing, even into eternity. This is a Christian-based ministry, guys. And so I do think about beyond this world, and into the next world, guys. And I do think of that in a very real, practical sense, guys. And so some of my ministry things that you may see on my website, guys, really, is like planning for eternity when you think about, just the sheer volume of some of the ideas that YE company wants to be a part of, and the reason for that, I think, comes again from New Testament teachings, guys, and Jesus's teachings, where he tells us to not only prepare for this life and live this life, but also to think about the next life and prepare for that and your journey with God throughout all of eternity, and obviously, there's only so much we can know and do and prepare, but one of those easiest ways is to give your life to Jesus Christ, the true God of the universe, and to, submit and do his will. But, this video, I wanted to kind of share some insight that I, recently learned or was revealed to me through different life experiences, guys. And that is kind of a gap in the U.S. economy, guys. Now, I think this real system could be applied worldwide, guys. I've said to myself, I think it is true that God, does want us to dream big, so to speak. We use the word dream in very different ways, but I think just like Billy Graham, so to speak, we as individual Christians should, try to live an excellent life in front of God, like we should shoot big, so to speak, even if that looks different for, not all of us are necessarily going to be like as famous or something as Billy Graham, or as rich as King Solomon, or as wise as King Solomon, or, have the, impact that Jesus Christ himself does, or just different, heroes in the faith. We may not all, sort of have that same impact, but God does say that we all can shine like different brightness in stars in the sun and the moon as well. And so he really kind of opens it up to us to, hey, get all you can out of following Jesus, so to speak. And so the mini economy, guys, is basically what I'm trying to get to for this video share. Is, one of the things that I realized, especially, as a 33-year-old, coming up in the United States. Now, the rapture could happen at any moment. I totally kind of agree with that these days, guys, especially in these last days. We don't, always know how much time we have left, guys. And especially, in some dangerous situations too, in practical life, you never fully know, of course, like when your life could end, especially, if you are an older individual as well. So obviously those truths, still matter. But, one of the things that I've learned, guys, is I do think there is, still, a huge gap in our economy, and a lot of people would agree with that as far as kind of what's available to even what we would call the lower middle class, and basically I wanted to, make a big part of YE Company ministry and business a part of what I just kind of had a revelation of, what I feel like God put on my heart just recently, guys, within, the week or so, is kind of trying to cater and serve and minister and create sort of a mini economy and open up services and resources to those that are in kind of this lower middle class or lower class within the United States, and obviously ultimately in the world, guys. Because here's the deal, there's a lot to be shared about this, guys, but maybe I'll do a longer form video of this maybe in the future, guys. This is going to be kind of a shorter one, but anyway, I think there still needs to be companies, guys, that are kind of like Dollar Tree, or like I just discovered a new kind of Dollar Tree equivalent in my area, which is I think it's called Five Below, which is like basically a store of everything $5 and below. As far as I have seen, I haven't actually been in that store to see all the products, but I'm pretty sure at just walking by it, it's like a $5 and below store. And then you have other stores like Dollar General, I think, is another company that kind of everything in their stores, like usually low price. It's not exactly like a dollar like Dollar Tree, but in general it's as low as like $1 or something like that. And so there are companies that are actually actively kind of already doing what I'm talking about. But I think even in a greater way, guys, when you think about I do believe there are people that are a working generation, guys, that aren't necessarily lazy or aren't necessarily, dumb or stupid or, just, not really taking care of themselves. But yet they, for different circumstantial reasons, or, there isn't a lot that is catered to their, wages and income that's coming in, guys. And so obviously we all know this, this isn't necessarily revolutionary information, but, I do think that there can be more companies out there that are offering more products and services, not necessarily for the complete destitute poverty person. And there's reasons why I say that. Because I do believe true biblical Christian faith, you should have a decent amount of income in your bank account, guys, if you're really thinking about what the Bible says. Now, obviously, there are people with disabilities, guys, with, different circumstances that prevent them, from even making kind of a minimum wage, so to speak. And I think, the government does, especially in America, try to address that. A lot of these problems are deeper, than the surface level, guys. Okay, sorry, guys. Sometimes when you record these on your phone, guys, you get phone calls. And so you may see that even on other videos, guys. I do plan on kind of, I think this is one of the advantages of having a dedicated phone for this ministry, guys, is, I can record these videos and have Wi-Fi on, but, not being able to receive calls, to interrupt the video, like, actually quite often when you think about happens on, especially for my videos, guys. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. In general, guys, I want to help, cater and serve, when you're following Jesus, guys, we all have to kind of find where we're placed in the body of Christ, what gift we're given by God. I think he does base our gift a lot on, our personal interests, our personal kind of desires as well, but also what God feels that, we should be doing in our life and what is a benefit to not only us, but him as well. And so anyway, I do think that one of the ways, that God is revealing where I should be serving in this world and the body of Christ is helping, the poor, basically. That's kind of that classic thing that we learn, in the Bible, but not necessarily always the direct, people without any money at all. Now, I do believe the Bible does address that we should help those that can't help themselves, and I'm not necessarily saying I don't want to do that, but even I think there are huge gaps that can be addressed in regards to people that just have a little bit of money, guys, that they're showing up on their job, they have a savings account or whatever, that just, may not be the biggest, and they're working hard, and, they're kind of checking most of the boxes as far as, what we should be doing, our God-given mandate to kind of take care of ourselves and our neighbor and, serve God and others. And so anyway, I want to introduce this concept of kind of through YE Company is, creating a mini economy ecosystem. And so what I mean by that, a lot of companies, especially tech companies, guys, use this term that we kind of get from, kind of like science or anything, is an ecosystem. And basically what that means is creating kind of a network of products and services that cater to a particular kind of theme or, kind of connection between different company products and also the quality that company kind of represents and different things like that. And so for YE Company, guys, one of the things that I wanted to share is, especially in one of the places that I'm thinking about, is the transit, kind of gap, guys. Not everyone enjoys taking the bus, guys, for various reasons, but also, they may not necessarily need the bus system, even though they use it and they may not have a car. But I think there needs to be kind of this middle tier, and especially when it comes to even housing or products and services, guys, that we, every day kind of use. There needs to be kind of this smaller kind of affordable infrastructure, and especially in the United States, guys, but obviously in my town of Washington, Seattle is where I was planning on kind of attempting this, and successfully doing this, if God wills, is trying to, join with, these big tech companies or these big companies here in Washington and help, kind of grow our economy. And I think this is kind of a helpful thing, because one thing that I've discovered, guys, from just being around the homeless community or just the poor, the poverty kind of level community, guys, when just, going out and talking to different people or, kind of experiential, is that there are people that, are kind of dedicated homeless, guys, but they do have money, they do have kind of like an ability to work as well. I way back in the beginning of YE, I already thought about trying to address, the job situation of, trying to somehow create an economy where jobs are more readily available, especially in the kind of entry level area. I think there's still a plethora of jobs that can be created for an entry level type of salary. When you talk about like $20 an hour or something or less, I still think there's a lot of jobs that can be created to really bridge this gap. But also, I wanted to finish my thought on the transportation industry, but also the housing industry, especially here in Washington, especially with the development of new technologies, guys, there are cheaper ways that you can create a house, you guys, for a person, a single individual, or even, up like my family status is a family of 4, and especially if you want to have a roommate or something, there are, kind of some cheaper ways that you can go about housing and the economy, especially in 2025, 2026. We're now in the year 2026. There are a lot of things that if you really look at some of the trends, things are becoming actually less expensive, guys. And I do believe a lot of companies are eventually going to do this as well, but I do want to be a part of that kind of growing, a company or ministry that is joining in on this, is, creating more affordable, living situations, products, and services. So in general, that's what I've been trying to say, guys, is I think one of the things that YE Company can do, because again, some of these things, the Bible kind of gives us this revelation, guys, that, a lot of things you may not even notice that needs your attention, especially when talking about some of the things when we get into housing and transportation. The government does address this, I think in a decent manner, especially in the United States, guys. But there is still, there's so many, the homeless situation is crazy. But I do think that the government is focusing, especially in the United States, especially here in Seattle, our local government could be addressing the wrong type of homeless and poverty situation, guys. And that's just my observational opinion. Now, I do think this topic, when talking about catering to the homeless or poor, takes a lot of kind of thought, because some of the people out there that are poor and homeless do not actually have the mindset or capacity to take care of themselves, or they do seem like they can be in very poor conditions, both physically and also financially, or just addiction wise, as far as drugs is concerned, and just the priorities that people are placing in front of other priorities. So there is a kind of mental health and physical health problem that does still need to be addressed in regards to the homeless and poor. But guys, again, this is kind of one of the reasons why I'm making this video, is sort of to put more emphasis on the mini economy, guys. And especially, guys, when you talk about the millennials and trying to help the millennials and people that are kind of coming out of high school and trying to transition to being on their own, guys, I really think this mini economy ecosystem that I want YE Company and ministries to be a part of can also cater to kind of the 18 to 25-year-old market, guys, that I do think the economy and our government and local governments can sort of look over, guys. I think there's a huge gap, even, not necessarily even talking about the homeless or the poor, but even our teenagers and young adults do need some sort of bridge that's greater, to really sustain kind of that independence that we are so pushed on at our age, guys. And yet so many of our products and services, or housing or transportation, is kind of geared to maybe a 40-year-old that kind of has their bells and whistles in place as far as their finances and stuff. And when you look at kind of the average 40-year-old and where they're at financially or physically in life, most of them are kind of probably making a decent wage to take care of their family and themselves, for sure. But when you think about especially the millennials, guys, and just kind of the gap that is missing in our economy, I do think Dollar Tree and Dollar General and that store that I mentioned earlier, like Five Below that is here in Washington. The concept needs to be expanded, guys, across various industries that I think could really boost our economy and living situation, guys. Because one of the things that, I think the people that are not poor or homeless, one of the things that needs to be addressed is their kind of view on people that are homeless or poor. I think a lot of people are just not wanting to even see people in certain conditions, living in certain conditions and poverty levels, guys. I think they can just be offended by like seeing others and like the way that they're allowing themselves to live. And so I want to address that too, because again, from my observations, guys, there does seem to be just a lack of resources for the people that are not necessarily in that bottom tier category of poverty and homeless, both in a financial and mental state, is what I'm trying to share. That, for the people that are literally just, they're capable of, having a job and taking care of themselves, yet the economy is seemed to be catered to those that just, are already making sort of a base kind of income. And I think this type of thinking really addresses not only kind of the homeless, poverty, lower class, economy, but also our young people who are just through whatever reason, not even, they're not necessarily homeless or anything. They're just coming out of, living, at their parents' house or, getting their college in order. It's not like they're, homeless or poor in the same sense, guys. They're just, literally growing up. And there's too many, disconnections between being 18 and, trying to afford a car or a house. And so what YE Company, I think, wants to do, especially in 2026, guys, is bridge this gap, especially for young people and the lower class, upper lower class poverty level people, is, create an economy and products and services that cater to those groups, guys. And so when you think about the invention of many electric cars, guys, that are so much cheaper, but there's not a lot of offerings for those types of cars, guys. When you look at, going to some of these dealerships, guys, they're gonna, even $20,000 for a car, guys, is a little bit out of the gap for the range of people and the types of people that I'm talking about, guys. Even though today, when you do research on a car, most people will say, oh, $20,000 for a car. Yeah, that's the cheapest offering you're going to get for a brand new car. And still, you'll get denied for those types of things, guys. And here's another interesting thing, guys. Some of these apartments, this is trying to be addressed, I think, already in our government. But even, I want to just shine a light on this, guys. Like, there are some people, these apartments that are decent and nice, that are denying people, residents over small things that don't really make sense, guys. To be denying people housing because, their credit is not like absolutely perfect or it's below 500, guys. And to overlook like, more serious things like, a criminal record or, and to be forcing people into homelessness or these, desperate situations, and again, I'm talking about 18-year-olds also, the 25-year-olds that, are not necessarily having addiction problems, or they're just young people, guys. And to be denying these people, to deny, I got denied at an application, on a housing application, and this is supposed to be like a low income, affordable housing, guys. And yet they deny me because, like, they said, oh, you have too many charge-offs on your credit report. And for me, like, it didn't make sense on some issues, because you have this group of people that, like, they're saying, oh, let's solve homelessness, and yet you're denying people homes over trivial things that don't really have any, real merit, when you have a person that is able to pay for their home, and they show you proof of income, and yet, you're saying you can't get a house because, your credit score is, the only thing is your credit score is below 400 or something. It's not anything serious, like, I don't know, or some crazy criminal or something. And even then, guys, there needs to be, kind of some understanding about that. But, what I'm trying to bring is a point more serious in order to keep someone out of being homeless, guys. And so I want to address that as well. And I do think having a mini economy, guys, and companies that are building on this mini economy ecosystem, where you're trying to create more of a bridge between the people that just, need more affordable items, guys, that are high quality, though, guys. One of the downsides of Dollar Tree, though, guys, that I think the company like Five Below is trying to address, is that, yes, it's true that Dollar Tree does have low cost items, guys. But one of the things that we know about Dollar Tree, even though, no offense, to anyone from Dollar Tree that may see this or something, is that in general, Dollar Tree does have kind of lower quality items, and that is kind of the truth of the matter. Even though, hey, I enjoy Dollar Tree, my wife, it's one of her favorite stores is Dollar Tree, guys. But, they do sort of have lower quality items. And so I want to address that too, is not necessarily giving someone something lower quality because it's cheap. I think that, when you do your research on kind of what's being developed out there, especially with new technologies, guys, and having the knowledge that, majority of people are having a smartphone these days, and connecting that to like kind of how we need to really boost some of our offerings for, this kind of lower class. And so, guys, to wrap up this video, guys, there's things that I've seen, like low cost EV cars, yeah, maybe not be a family vehicle, guys, but still, for the individual that does not want to walk or take public transit to work, and yet they may have enough to put like a small down, like $50 down payment on like a $10,000 car, guys, and having a financial infrastructure and banking system that is catered to this lower level class, that is not necessarily a class to be shunned on or kind of looked down on, as we would sort of address maybe the ultra poverty people, where they kind of have, in a non-judgmental way, is what I'm trying to say, is they've sort of given up on life, guys. Like, they're not even trying to sort of follow Jesus, or, they're kind of rejecting God, and, they're rejecting, kind of what God says of how you should live. And we still should have compassion on those people too, guys. But, and so in summary, I think we need to have a market for, $10,000 cars and below, guys, that are still brand new, decent quality cars that can get you around within a 50 to 100 mile radius, especially these EV chargers, guys. You can, I don't know if you really were wanting to, drive from Seattle to maybe San Diego or something in these cars that are more affordable, but yet not lacking in quality, guys. And then, of course, it's going to take longer to kind of address the kind of wrongness of kind of getting approved or disapproved at some of these, apartments that are already established, guys. But even in housing, guys, if we committed, especially in the Seattle area, and I think companies, especially if you do this right, will jump on board and trying to kind of get involved in the creation of this mini economy ecosystem where, you have housing. One of the ideas, guys, I will try to, in this video, guys, post some of the pictures that you can see, kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But even like these, they have, especially on Amazon, guys, you have these cheap little modular houses that you can buy that kind of are like $20,000, $30,000 little houses that give you in general a decent, living and amount of space. Guys, if we created little home communities, guys, bought a plot of land and establishing many plots of land and creating like a Lennar Homes in my area, a Soundbit Homes, but these smaller, affordable communities that I've already seen people already trying to do this, guys, which is creating these more affordable home communities that are not trashy, guys, that are not lacking in services to help mitigate, the kind of unraveling of these places, guys. If you aren't getting landscape maintenance, if you aren't getting trash pickup, guys, if you aren't addressing having an HOA and, these different services, a lot of people get mad at the government taxing us. But it is true that taxes, have a reason, behind them, because they're helping keep up the quality of life that we are living in, especially in the United States. But, these little capsule homes that you can, install and get built for a low cost. I think if we had homes that are, $40,000 or $30,000, and a car that's under $10,000, guys, where, someone 18 to 20-year-old or 25-year-old or even in their 30s like me, when faced with, are you going to be homeless, or are you going to try to get into maybe even a studio is like on average, especially with a washer and dryer in the home, guys, is going to run you around, especially in the Seattle area. I would give it, I'll give a little grace. So it'll run about $1,100 to up to $2,500 for even a studio apartment, guys, in the Seattle area, which isn't, super expensive. I think, having a studio is a pretty decent, kind of way to live for our single individuals or even couples sometimes. But still, when you talk about the path to home ownership or just, having a better space to yourself than what's available, guys, I do think that even when it comes to apartment buildings, guys, but I was really addressing homes themselves, but even getting into affordable apartment buildings, guys, there needs to be a mini economy ecosystem where we are offering more high quality, affordable products and services. And so, from what I've seen, there's already the infrastructure there to have low cost EVs, affordable vehicles, electric vehicles, lower cost efficient, modular homes, or, when you think about cell phones, guys, having a decent cell phone at a affordable price. I think that's already kind of been done, guys. I think in cell phones, it's super easy to get a cell phone that, is so powerful and, can do so much for you in your life at a low cost. And I think we just need to apply that same kind of thing that is going on with smartphones these days And eventually, what they're trying to do with AI is kind of create kind of this equality across the board. And I think this is the time to do this and expand this concept that Dollar Tree was trying to do, or Dollar General. And I think the company Five Below is really kind of onto something a little bit better. Is instead of just having a Dollar Tree or a dollar economy where you're just, oh, I just want to offer something low price, and I do think there needs to be something more along the lines of $5 and below. Well, where you're still not necessarily paying a full $10 for maybe a higher quality item, maybe, but still, $5 in this example, you're getting a decent quality of life, quality of product and service, even though you're not paying a full $10, you're paying a $5 amount. And so hopefully this is clear, guys. I don't see how anyone would really misinterpret the things that I'm trying to say about this mini ecosystem and what YE Company and Ministries wants to be involved in, guys. But again, this would take, quite a bit of work, guys. Coordination, collaboration, guys. But, again, with this turn in AI and technology, guys, one of the things that they are saying is that things are going to become more affordable as, production becomes more efficient, guys, as, getting resources to build these products and services becomes easier, because obviously labor is one of the high charges in a lot of these things, guys. And so when you talk about the invention of robots and how labor is going to be cut in half, guys, that means things are going to become more affordable, especially in 2026 and beyond. And so I do think it is a good thing to get involved that will be very profitable, guys, and very beneficial to a lot of people, is to start to expand our offerings to the lower middle class and the lower class of what we call people and their financial capabilities. And so guys, this video should explain kind of the mini ecosystem, guys. Now, obviously, I think, it would be great to talk about all the products and services that, YE Company wants to be involved in and do to build this mini ecosystem, guys. But this video is already pretty long, guys. So check out our website, washi.com. You can see some of the things that we're looking to do, guys. But also stay tuned, hit the like and subscribe button. Again, my main channel is YE Church Online, guys. But you can check out this channel just in case, the other one is not active or something like that. This is kind of the secondary channel, guys. And so thank you so much, guys, and talk to you next time. See ya.